Us this morning on our weekly call for community solutions from the Forbes Funds. We have hosted these since March of 2020 and hosted over 5,141 calls with 43,926 participants. So all of the positive impact and great conversations that have come as a result of these Monday morning conversations between 10 to 11 a.m. I want to thank all of you for participating on an ongoing basis and joining us every week because GPNP, I mean, I know there's that quote about things being greater than the sum of all of its parts. And I really feel like that's true for the Greater Pittsburgh Nonprofit Partnership. So without further ado, I'll be jumping into the presentation for today. And I hope it's okay, but I'm just going to be speaking for a little bit rather than having a PowerPoint presentation. And the goal for today is to really give an overview of the new member portal that people will find themselves invited to on a rolling basis over the next couple of weeks. And this has really been in development since, I joined the team in May of 2021, I believe. And since that time, when Colleen was director and I was in the program coordinator role, we had talked about, making membership engagement a little different because in any given room, you hear GPNP and you think of one of three hats, right? There's the advocacy side, there's the membership side, and then there's the coalition side with like the mobilization around specific issues, whether that's advocacy or, capacity building related. And so managing those three hats, helping members figure out the best way to onboard their gifts, skills, and talents to really be active within the membership looks different for each organization and each leader of those organizations. And for the last, 2.5 years and previously, the membership onboarding process looked like a renewal or join, a confirmation email, and then an automatic subscription for weekly newsletter. But one that's not really, catered towards a specific organization or leader of an organization. And two, there's more of a focus on the work of a nonprofit versus all of the different elements and leadership abilities that the staff of that organization bring to the social impact sector. And we know that there's a lot of turnover in the nonprofit sector. We know that there's a lot of time limited partnerships for opportunity based on funding cycles. And so really taking account of all of the great things that are happening in Southwest Pennsylvania in the nonprofit sector and really highlighting that work on a transformative leadership basis rather than focusing on counting a one-to-one, member. It really became the shift that necessitated, the 2021 summit, the 2023 summit, and how we engage differently through this member portal. So a couple of things. One, at any time, if you would like to put in the chat your name, your organization, and what originally drew you to GPNP. And this is really helpful. You don't have to, do this in the next 5 minutes, but just, in the first, 10, 15 minutes of the call, if you could share that information in the chat, it would be really helpful. One, for other folks to see how you've been engaged as a member. We have folks who joined for the first time ever this past year through the summit. A lot of folks actually from throughout Southwest Pennsylvania. And then we've had folks that have been, with GPNP since its inception in 2005. And yes, that means 2025, next year's summit will be our 20th anniversary. So expect a big celebration of, GPNP, its formal relationship with the Forbes Funds as a program and front door to capacity building to all of the resources the Forbes Funds has, but also just all of the products that have come out of, really important conversations with elected officials within the network itself, and highlighting the social safety net that the social impact sector has provided, yes, through the pandemic, but long before that as well. So with that, a little bit about myself, because I want to take a little bit of time to talk about my background and why I'm really excited about this member portal, and what led me to GPNP. Because one, as a person who really likes to recognize the gifts, skills, and talents of others, but also apply them in a way that is strategic and for the betterment of communities at large, GPNP is kind of my dream job. And so getting to mobilize a membership differently and to move together differently is really excited. And I hope that's coming across this morning on the call. If you have any questions at any point, also feel free to add them to the chat. So I originally went to Mercyhurst University for undergrad for intelligence studies. And while for a while I really wanted to work for the FBI or the CIA or something national security related, through the first couple of years of those courses, I recognized that predictive analytics and understanding probabilities could be applied to things like public health and wellness, and picked up a bachelor's in public health as well from Mercyhurst because of this focus on data and this relationship that we have with foundations or government funding as nonprofit organizations has taken that data-driven tone and that collective tone of what is the impact, what is the direct return on investment. And there are a lot of pieces that I hope you're hearing come together, kind of thinking through what this means for how we mobilize a membership of over 500 organizations and leaders within those organizations in Southwest PA. Because when looking at, focusing only on the data, you're missing the transformative relationships. Focusing only on the transformative relationships, it's really difficult to sell a story to an elected official or a funder to invest in the program or project or initiative that you're championing with your organization. And it's difficult to talk to partners about what is really important and different, even if, incrementally from what has been done in the past, that's going to get you the result and meet the needs that your programs and organizations are seeking to solve or do. So after kind of, having that moment of thought and clarity at Mercyhurst University, I came to the University of Pittsburgh Graduate School of Public and International Affairs and focused more so on NGOs and civil society, because while there's a great series of opportunities globally for nonprofit organizations and the opportunities and supports they provide, there is so much happening here that we are still figuring out how to collaborate, how to do that well, how to build each other up versus compete for funding in one space and advocate together in Harrisburg in another. And so building some of those trust pieces and really diving into the relationships, that's what opened the door for me, to really want to work for the Forbes Funds. And the conversation that Hannah shared a couple of weeks ago on the capacity building drive for the Forbes Funds and how that has been so iterative over especially the past 5 years under Fred's leadership, but really responsive to the needs of the sector while also driving that direction of innovation and social change. And so I want to highlight that because the 8 returns on investment aren't just another, framework that we're throwing at you. It's to align the work or to put some buzzwords behind it. Return on relationships is a very real indicator of the strength of a coalition and of a network. And so in terms of how we're talking about that and quantifying it, we couldn't take this model of, GPNP counting only organizations as members and take that very transactional data point and put it on top of something that's more transformative and more leadership oriented, because any organization goes through, ebbs and flows, and how the leader of the organization, shapes relationships and shapes the work. You can have the same mission statement across 5 different executive directors, and it would feel like you're working for or with 5 different organizations. And so really capturing how the GPNP network builds up and supports and recognizes and advances, builds the capacity of nonprofit leaders for the benefit of organizations, but more broadly greater community, is how this member portal was born. So I'm going to share my screen and show you what you'll see when you get invited in. Okay, so really quickly, when you come into the member portal, you're going to see a couple of different tabs. Community is where membership at large information is going to be found. My screen looks a little bit different because I have this little admin line and I can, edit things on the site. I won't be clicking on that today to keep it, relatable to what you're going to see. But the first thing you're going to notice is programs. If there are cohorts of organizations that are joining GPNP as a group. A couple of examples are, various contracts that we have with, a city government or county government or a community foundation that's covering the cost of X number of memberships. That model is designed to bring on GPNP members with a shared relationship and shared experience. So somebody who joins doesn't feel like they're in a silo, and trying to navigate all of these resources in this new community completely on their own. And so this program piece, if that's visible to you, that means that your membership is part of a cohort of 10 to 40 organizations joining GPNP together, and that there will be program specific updates that I can share as messages, or that you can share as messages within that specific group. So that's the first difference in terms of recognizing that there are organizations that work very collaboratively together. And so a benefit that we provide in terms of legal support or, mental wellness support and resources, that can go beyond a specific point of contact at one organization to the entire organization, but also their broader community and network to be sharing the benefit of that perk. The second thing I want to draw your attention to is your individual profile. So on our website previously, how we had the member directory, you'd have, the organization name, the organization mission statement, and the contact information like the info ad account, or a single point of contact that may change 3 months from creating the profile. So just as kind of a best practice, what we're doing is breaking down an individual profile by the individual and a team profile that has what's called a team admin for your organization. And so that means that no longer does only one person have to be the primary point of contact for GPNP. Anybody who would like a profile as part of an organization that's a member at no additional cost, we're not increasing the rate of membership, is going to be able to have a profile and jump in to more consistently access the benefits on an ongoing basis versus trying to find a forwarded email from somebody who, actually made the join or renew payment and receives a confirmation email. Additionally, it allows us this space for having a bio that is person specific, because we know that, in our network, I keep saying gifts, skills, and talents, but it's so important because we all bring different things to the table. And so we are more than just our title at our organization. And so in this bio, I really do want to encourage members to talk about what drives them, why they're at their current organization, and what they hope to get out of their GPNP membership. So you can, see who's thinking and speaking and moving like you. The second thing is this series of links here. So this is to your website, your email, and your LinkedIn. Previously on the member portal, it wasn't as dynamic in terms of interaction between members. So there was no direct, like, I want to email this person. If you have your email public as part of your profile, you can be directly emailed or reached out to through this portal. And so it's going to encourage more of that. Let's say you see somebody who's highlighted in a nonprofit spotlight from Butler County or Fayette County, or, a new funder that's in the network that you really want to reach out to. You can say, hey, we're both GPNP members. We're part of a shared group or a shared network in Southwest PA. I'd love to talk to you. So it's a little bit different than, a cold outreach. And then finally, the tags piece. When you edit your profile, you'll be able to pick, what geography, which county in Southwest PA, or if you're a statewide, national, international organization, which social indicator of health or social determinant of health, and then your mission area. We have a lot of different options to choose from here. And the purpose of this is, again, giving folks a chance to connect with you based on, shared experiences or, shared purpose for what brings you to your organization. The second profile that's important is your organizational profile. And this is what has been, typically counted under the previous portal. So you'd see the name of the organization, your website, and then I would encourage, if your organization has an info at or an HR at or a development at, having that generic shared email as the point of contact consistently, just again, in case of transition or even promotion within organizations or changing, who your fiscal sponsor is. There are a whole list of reasons that email addresses change, but this is, the direct point of contact for your organization. There will be one person who is a team admin for your team, and that's going to be the person who can share updates or notes or, information with the rest of folks to get a ping, on their organizational account. And this is a description of your organization, very similar to the personal profile bio. And then you can actually add documents as a collaboration space within this portal for your organization to say, okay, I've been really enjoying the Lawyers for Nonprofits member benefit. Here are some notes, or like a shared notes doc for helping new members of the team, even if it's part of your onboarding process through your GPNP membership, to really bring folks into the fold of what this community can and does provide. So I'm going to pause there and double check in the chat. I don't see any questions, but I do appreciate everyone jumping in. If you're joining late, the kind of activity for the chat this morning that I shared is sharing your name, your organization, and what originally brought you to connect with GPNP, or why you're excited to stay as part of the network. All right, I'm going to go back to the dashboard here. Everything's saved. This dashboard is kind of the collection space for information. So this is an announcement that I shared yesterday and made sure that it would go through. As part of that, there is an email that anyone who gets an announcement is going to see. Anyone who gets an announcement notification. Oh, here we go. There we go. So I'm going to use that sparingly. There's still going to be a Friday newsletter. There is still going to be, a once weekly limit on communication, because I really don't want to spam people's inboxes. And so this is hey, you've been invited to the team, what you're going to see. And then also if there is a, new announcement or prompt or benefit or something that is shared on an ongoing basis, rather than sending an email to, a listserv that may or may not include a couple of folks from your organization, you'll have a direct login link and information directly for, anything you need to access that new benefit, new event. Let's say we have the annual meeting coming up and I want to share the registration link. That's how that announcement is going to be shared more broadly. And something I'm really excited about, because in addition to the policy and advocacy and membership benefit side of things, one of the biggest benefits for GPNP that I've heard from folks is this networking opportunity and the different connections that are available. So remember when I talked about the different tags that you shared with your or your personal profile? This is going to help an algorithm behind the scenes connect you or make suggestions for folks that you should speak to. So if I want to view Bree's profile as an example, I can see, Bree is the sustainability and social impact manager at the Forbes Funds, and I can email her directly. And then you can also see the tags that may have prompted the suggested connection status of this individual or, group of individuals that might be, worth your time to just reach out to. Upcoming events, I will be adding the calls for community solutions to this before inviting folks, public policy committee meetings before inviting folks, just to avoid any, undue pings in your inbox as I'm updating the back end of this. That's why we haven't onboarded folks yet, just because we want to limit the number of, emails that you receive about the new GPNP member portal. I'm not trying to inundate people's inboxes. But basically, this is going to be a running list of, anything that's open to GPNP members. So if there's an event that is hosted by the Forbes Funds, or GPNP annual meeting, calls for community solutions on a weekly basis, public policy committee meetings on a monthly basis, rolling legislative visits that we have with, different individuals. In each event, there is an opportunity to RSVP yes or no. So that way, in lieu of sending a billion Zoom invitations, I can share with folks, hey, this is a legislative visit that we're having in Westmoreland County. If this is something that's interesting to you, answer yes or no. Or I'm actually going to go through and let me know if you can't hear me. For the upcoming Public Policy Committee meeting on the 18th, you can sync it to your calendar. It tells you whether it's virtual, in person, hybrid, or location if it's if it's in person, and then the Zoom link directly for you to register directly. You can also RSVP at the end or at the bottom here to say like, yes, I'm planning to attend. So you can see who else is planning on attending this specific April Public Policy Committee meeting. Something that I've heard in the past for especially for public policy is one, the ongoing invite, from I think it was 2022 was still sent to people. So it wasn't necessarily syncing with calendars very well. And two, that we didn't have a up-to-date RSVP list because it was a recurring Zoom invitation that repeated monthly on the third Thursday of the month. So just building out some pieces that allow, communication and how you're connecting and attending specific events to happen differently is really important. Under network, something we're also excited to introduce is that consultants can be looped in directly with GPNP members. So if you think of team as the title, think about that as an organization. So a team of individuals all working at the same organization. Member is individual user. So you can, filter and look for folks by which organization they work for, and then it'll share, who the organization members and admin are. Members individually. So, what tags they have on their profile and information about them. And then you'll have the same information for our consultants directory, which historically has been, searchable, but you weren't able to necessarily reach out to consultants directly. And then sponsored doesn't necessarily have a financial piece to it. This is kind of the pre-programmed language. Same with, perks. We usually say like member benefits for GPNP, but they're called perks in the portal because it is a broader, platform than just GPNP. But sponsors are the individuals or organizations that are covering the benefits or the member benefits. So going to that really quickly, these are linkable benefits that are listed usually in the email that you receive when you become a GPNP member or renew your membership as that confirmation email. There are some links. These are more detailed. So highlighting our partnership with the Altruism and Medicine Institute, as of last summit until December 31st of this year, all GPNP members have free access to a personal like mental hygiene or emotional hygiene app that is going to help with stress, burnout, just difficulties that are inherent specifically to, nonprofit organizations and the decisions and work that we're doing. And so the Altruism and Medicine Institute and Dr. Barry Curzon worked on building a curriculum that was specific to social impact sector. And so any of these perks are listed as something that's available, to all of GPNP, something that is an HR support maybe, which is, hiring people. And then if you are up to date on your GPNP membership, you'll see this redeem perk button. And so you can click it and it'll take you directly to the Forbes Funds specific link to download the Amy Care course. There are 12 CEU credits for any CME or CNE folks in our social work or health fields that are now in the social impact sector or working at various organizations. An intro to the app from Dr. Barry and any information about programs that might be relevant, to members. And so again, this is available in perpetuity all in one place. So you don't have to search for an email and look for the links and hope that they work and are up to date because we can update these on an ongoing basis. So for Taproot Foundation, looking at getting access to skilled volunteers and over 150,000 remote professionals who can help with things like, website design or grant writing. You just click the link and it'll take you to the relevant page for that. Now, we also have some inherent benefits as being a program of the Forbes Funds, like the weekly calls for community solutions. So the registration link is what you'll see under the redeem perk. But this also has space for this instruction block around using the chat to ask questions and connect with other attendees. So a description of the perk and instructions for really how to maximize it. In a couple of the descriptions, you'll see a link. So let's see, Nonprofit Spotlight is an example. You'll see a link in addition to redeem perk as here's a form that we anticipate, you filling out in advance of meeting with you, or, just other support pieces. If there's a running doc with information or anything that we've kind of created as a best practice, but all of this again is available in one place under the perks tab. Additionally, the Forbes Funds website has our downloadable resources. And so they are going to be available here as well as links outside of relationship-based perks and benefits, which is usually this perks piece, but anything that's like a downloadable template or something available for GPNP members will be uploaded or linked on the resources page as well. And I'm going to go to the chat because I saw a couple of notes coming in here. Wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your detailed response, Lawrence. And that's a reminder that I need to get back to you about next Pittsburgh as well. Yes. Okay. So looking at the last piece here, specific to the events page, other community events are archived, and you can also see things that are outside of the next 30 days, which are often synced to the calendar. If you are a part of an individual program, and let me use the Westmoreland County folks as an example, there are going to be office hours that are specific events that I have at Community Foundation of Westmoreland County that are different than the full community events here. And the programs typically have a program lead across organizations that is really helping us with this interagency collaboration piece. So if I go to this Westco Nonprofit Network, the first sign that you're going to be part of a program versus community is upper left corner. And two, if the calendar and upcoming events document specific to partnership between organizations looks different than the main community page. And again, this was built understanding that simply providing the contact information and website for a nonprofit organization itself isn't necessarily going to strengthen and build trust among the GPNP network. So recognizing that there are relationships and partnerships that predate GPNP membership. So things like the programs as shared experiences that you can invite folks into, managing that space with shared documents and shared events that are specific to that collaboration, but then also within your organization, being able to see there are a couple of things that I want to share again as part of onboarding for new hires or new staff that would really help organizations, maximize their GPNP benefits from the beginning, working with our organization. And, that can be in the shared documents here. So I'll pause there, and I want to stop sharing and see everyone's beautiful faces this morning and see if there are any questions before I move forward. That's it for the share out of the portal, but I'm really curious to hear from folks if there are any items that may have been missed or that we should consider, because in the next 30 to 60 days, we're still kind of iterating a little bit on the portal. But I hope that this meets some of the needs and concerns that we've been hearing since before I joined GPNP about improving collaboration and encouraging it within organizations, recognizing leaders versus individual organizations, and then cross-sector collaboration as well for different types of folks beyond GPNP members, bringing in consultants to reach out to and access directly. So any questions from folks? I'm going to take a moment to read some of these comments. Please feel free to come off mute. Hi, Brianna.
Hi, sorry. I didn't mean to take myself off mute.
Oh, you're good. So not a question. No worries. Oh, go ahead, John.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I just got a comment. I was reading the chat about the mayor of Menneson, and that some caught to my attention, but that I'm focused on, which you already know, Emily, is that he's like to see probably workforce development, which means training. Also, after that, you have to have a place where these people might be able to be employed. I just want to share it with him and hoping that he could reach out to me and we could have further conversation and I can see what we could do out there in Menneson for him.
Thank you, John. I was gonna
Thank
say
you.
you're proving my point on the collaboration that happens from being a member. Ron, do you want to come off mute?
Great. Yes, of course. I very much appreciate the opportunity to hook up with you and see what we can do. Absolutely.
Hey, Emily.
I'll give you my phone number, Ron.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, Emily, why don't you give it to him, okay?
Okay, perfect. I can do
Thank
that.
you. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Ron.
you. Please call, Ron.
Emmett, I saw you come off mute as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, I'm going to be reaching back out to Ron as well. We talked early last year and just trying to get things in order so that we can help him facilitate some type of a workforce development piece out there. So I'm definitely going to be reaching back out to Ron as well. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. This is good news. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Emmett.
Yep.
And I saw a direct message about sharing information. Yes. So within the new member portal, if there are, announcements or things of that level that will go literally as a notification every time it's changed to all GPNP members, I'm going to limit those for anything that should be shared out in, the Friday newsletter. That's something that we're happy to share. But there are a lot of times that we get outreach, in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, about something that's happening on Friday or Saturday. And, waiting until the Friday newsletter is a little bit too late to share that information. So just as an example, the other piece of this that you may have seen in the member portal is a link to access the Slack channel. So we're also creating an ongoing communication tool through this partnership with OneValley and creating any conversation that I have with my advisory team. Anybody who's interested in sharing up-to-date member benefits or a general, GPNP channel that wants to share information via Slack with other members, this is going to be a great place to share that because one, it's not going to prompt constant notifications. But two, it's something that's a little less formal. And so if somebody needs like quick support or, outreach and doesn't want to send a whole email to me with signature and, dear Emily at the top, that's okay. I want to be accessible to folks. And so this is where the Slack channel with the member portal, you'll also see at the bottom here a launching Slack to be able to connect with GPNP. So this is where, again, the direct communication being improved. So not everything has to go through email, tagging me if you need something, immediate or want to share something out. But also that you can do that directly. In the past, we've tried to use LinkedIn a little bit as a platform for this, especially during the 2021 summit as we were virtual and there were a lot of questions about, getting into the portal and, accessing specific sessions. But I was often the person that had to answer the questions. And what I would really like to start building and empowering within the member network is if somebody finds the Amy Care app or Lawyers for Nonprofits or Taproot really helpful and there's a question about it, I would love for members to feel empowered and say, you know what, like, yes, GPNP provided this thing. Here's how I was able to actually maximize it, or, how we were able to tweak the instructions or information that was shared to work for our organization. And that's what I'm hoping to highlight more on a quarterly basis in terms of member call-ins with how these resources are being used now that they're available more broadly within your organization to more than one individual as the primary point of contact. Two, I will be sending out this Friday a form to help with the onboarding onto this portal, because I would love not to have to onboard by typing in each individual name and email. I'll be sending out a form because, again, typically it's, one person that's the primary point of contact, and all information from GPNP needs to go through them unless somebody subscribes to our newsletter. But if you have a staff of 30 individuals or 7 individuals, I would like them to be in the member portal as well. It doesn't have to be just one person. I will say, as a best practice, I can almost feel Olivia like, making sure that I say this. Make sure that at least one of the points of contact for your organization is the info at, if you have a general email, to make sure that communication is consistent from the Forbes Funds and GPNP to your organization in case points of contact change, and control for that a little bit. But 2, the purpose of this new portal is really to build up the individuals in the social impact sector and encourage them to better connect with each other. So I'm going to pause there. I hope the portal and the Slack channel are going to meet some of the challenges and the needs that we've heard over the last couple of years. And I want to thank all of you, one, for being GPNP members, for showing up on these calls for community solutions, demonstrating that you're engaged. And I hope you continue to be engaged as we're launching this portal and this next iteration of what membership and engagement looks like for GPNP. Any final questions or thoughts? Thoughts are welcome as well. And I'm trying to think for consultants too, being directly contacted. One layer of nuance, and I see Debbie on the call, is that the consultants are a little bit different than EIR. So this is not necessarily a direct link to our executives and residents. We have a formal intake process for that through the Forbes Funds. The consultants are folks that have been vetted and are part of our consultants roundtable that do work with nonprofits as part of their client portfolio. So, if there are individuals that would like to be, hired by a nonprofit, this is the list of folks that the Forbes Funds has said, we've worked with this person or we know their work, and would love to, connect you. Now there's a little bit less, funneling, right, in terms of turnaround time between recognizing that you need a consultant and reaching out to someone directly. Now you can do it directly as a member benefit on the member portal. And I think I'm going to pause there today. I do not have any major policy updates this morning. Mostly that today is the deadline for registering for a mail-in ballot. For the 23rd, which is our primary election, and encouraging folks to reach out to or view the websites of Pump, League of Women Voters, Jefferson Regional Foundation, Spotlight Pennsylvania, if you're looking for information on specific candidates or what's going to be on your ballot. Again, a big part of the purpose of GPNP membership is, yes, building capacity and better connecting nonprofits, but increasing the number of nonprofits who are participating in advocacy collectively and trusting each other to have conversations with elected officials on your behalf. So you'll see the poll that is on the screen. Thank you so much for taking a couple of moments to fill out those questions. I am ending a little bit early today, not just because of the eclipse happening, but to give you a little bit of time back in your week. And the final thing I will say is that I'm really excited for some of the presenters we have coming up later this month. We have, let's see, I believe, I'm pulling up my list here real quick. Venture Outdoors and Olivia. I remember there was another speaker that you had highlighted. But April 22nd is Earth Day, and very on theme for our call for community solutions taking place that Monday. It's really important to have a speaker who can speak to not only events and point in time opportunities, but also the importance of ongoing sustainability, environmental justice, and all of those pieces. I have on the screen the PA elections deadlines I mentioned. So 8th, today is last day to register to vote. 16th is last day to request a mail-in ballot. And the 23rd is the actual primary election. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I think that's everything for this morning. I hope everyone enjoys the extra 15 or so minutes in your day. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Monday.
Thanks,
Excellent
Emily.
presentation. Great presentation.
Debbie.
It looks like a great site to use. So